Hello and welcome to the video. This is a very quick video with collaboration with Ben at 3DXR to talk about pitot tubes and airspeed sensors. Now I'll hand over to Ben in a minute, who's going to go through it for a PixHawk, but this information, a lot of it is very relevant even if you're using something like a Eagle Tree Vector or an iNav on another flight controller. In fact, I'm just about to start another build here where I'm considering put a pitot tube on that as well for iNav. But before I hand over to Ben, let me just say a couple of things. First of all is that pitot tubes are great. They allow the craft to figure out the speed of the air that it's actually flying through. It can vastly improve the flying characteristics of your flight controller if it has a good implementation for managing speed relative to airflow. And that can really help to make sure that you never get in a position where you're going to stall. It can also really help with things like landing and takeoff cycles. The plane will make sure that it's always got enough speed. And the second thing is say a very big thank you to Ben at 3DXR. He's very generous with his time for me. And I was up there, usually go up for a day and we'll end up working on 2 or 3 projects. This happened to be something that when I was there, he mentioned a lot of people struggle with. So could you do a quick video on? So big props to Ben for putting that help back into the community. 3DXR, for those of you that don't know, here based in the UK in the northeast of England, they are a manufacturer of very large custom-made UAV systems for mapping, surveying, prosumers. I believe some of their customers even do it to train hawks too. But they have planes, wings, multi-rotors, loads of stuff. But they're also stockists for FR Sky, Brain FPV, Team Black Sheep, and loads of the stuff that we use a lot in the hobby. So they're usually one of the first places I go to because they tend to have most things in stock pretty much all the time. So with all that said, let me hand over to Ben in the office. Apologies for the audio in advance. It was recorded in the open office as Ben was doing it on the desk, and Ben can show you his tips and tricks for airspeed sensors.
So in this video, we'll give an introduction into airspeed sensors, the use and the setup. A properly configured airspeed sensor will greatly improve your flying experience in both maintaining a constant cruise speed, for example in mapping missions, help prevent stalls, and also improve with automatic landings and takeoff. So in this example here, we've got the MS4525 airspeed sensor from M Robotics. I've been using this airspeed sensor now for over a year and I found it to be the best product on the market. But there is some common mistakes when setting these up and when fitting these. The airspeed sensors connected to I2C. On this freshly set up PixHawk with RD plane, I've simply connected it, fitted the tube, the flexi tube and the pitot tube, and powered on the PixHawk via USB. I've connected to the PixHawk with Mission Planner, and already with the default settings I'm getting airspeed readings. As I blow into the pitot tube, the airspeed indicator rises. But there's a few different ways you can set these up. The pitot tube, this is a larger, more heavy duty version. This is the standard pitot tube that comes with the airspeed sensors. This is a heavy duty version that has a solid mounting option. You have the dynamic pressure sensing at the front and the static pressure sensing on the side, and the airspeed is calculated by measuring the difference in these. I found the best way to use airspeed sensors is to only connect the dynamic pressure sensor and to take the static pressure readings from inside the cabin or inside the fuselage. In this case, and on this particular sensor, I've connected the dynamic pressure to the bottom port on this sensor. These are able to take whichever pressure in whichever port and work out which is the correct one to use. I find the best result is to define which port you have the dynamic pressure going into. In order to set up the initial parameters, we need to navigate to configuration and full parameter list. And if I start to type in airspeed, ARS, in this case, it'll bring up the parameters that need to be defined. So by default, we're seeing an airspeed reading. It has the particular airspeed sensor type set correctly. So airspeed type equals 1. So this is for the I2C MS4525. Airspeed use is currently set to 0, do not use. So although we're seeing an airspeed reading, it's not actually being used at this point in flight. What needs to be done first is the calibration of the airspeed sensor. So this is the ratio it needs to know specifically to your sensor and tubing. What we can do is enable the airspeed autocalc. So the plane will calculate this ratio by itself when you fly circles. So the first time an airspeed sensor is used in a plane, we take the plane off with auto calculation enabled and fly in loiter mode for at least 5 minutes. This will give it enough data to implement the correct airspeed ratio. The other parameter we'll set before flight is the airspeed tube order. So in this case, the dynamic pressure is connected to the bottom connector. So this parameter needs to be changed to 1. I've modified this parameter, so now I must write the parameters. And we get the successfully saved message. Once a calibration flight has been carried out, we can turn off auto calculation. We'll see the airspeed ratio will have changed. This value should be somewhere between 1.5 and 3. If it's outside of these values, you may need to investigate for a possible leak. Then we can enable the use of airspeed and also set some more specific parameters, such as the cruise throttle as an airspeed. In this case, it might be about 14 meters a second for this plane. We can also set some parameters specific for landing, such as the target airspeed during landing. And we can set a minimum and maximum airspeed when the fixed wing is in automatic modes. There's a couple of common mistakes people make when fitting and setting up airspeed sensors. So I'll just like to go through a few of those first. Any leak in this system will not work, or not work how you want to. So ensuring that the tubes are fully fitted over. Sometimes if you're using a thicker, harder tube, you may need to warm these up to make them flexible, but make sure that if you, for example, dip this into hot water, that any moisture is removed before you fit it. You don't want to have any kinks in the tube. Be careful when you are cutting and handling it not to have any slices or nicks in it. That would result in air loss. And again, fitted to the pitot tube end. The pitot tube needs to be mounted on the plane so that it's not directly in the motor airflow. So on some airframes that can be more challenging. Maybe it has to be mounted a fair distance into the wing. Maybe it has to be raised up. Another thing to think about is the routing of the actual tube. I found out on a model I fitted this to, I had an issue where the battery was leaning against the tube, and what happens is if you actually press this tube, so something leaning against it gives false readings. So just by pressing this now, I'm increasing the airspeed 11 meters a second there. So if you can imagine this was fitted to the sidewall, to the fuselage, and you have a large battery against it, every time you turn you could be giving false indications. Ultimately, false airspeeds on a corner could result in a stall and a crash. So based on experience, I've come up with what I think is the best setup. So the sensor would be the 4525. The tubing, this firmer tube, so this is a 2mm in a diameter tube. So this resists being crushed or squashed but I still like to mount the tube in a way where nothing can physically do that. So if I have to put a recess into the foam fuselage and sink this in, that gives good results. And using the larger heavy duty Pitot tube, where I'm only interested in the dynamic pressure, the static pressure, instead of being taken on the tube, is using the cabin pressure, if you like. During the calibration flight for the airspeed sensor, where you're circling for at least 5 minutes, it might be beneficial to actually see the change in the ratio. I can change one of these parameters here on the quick view screen just by double clicking. So even though our airspeed ratio is currently at 1.5, this is only going to be updated when changes are made. So as you're flying around in this circle, this number will show, and then it will either increase or decrease depending on the setup of your airspeed sensor. I'd recommend watching this number until it initially changes and then remains very close as you fly around in circles.
Thanks for watching the video and watching right to the very end. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you like the video and like what I'm doing here, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon too. If you really like what I'm doing, you can go the extra mile and become one of my Patreons for access to me directly for support, and also giveaways and regular updates too. If you're looking for particular content, then check out the playlist. I organise all of my videos into playlists, so if you're looking for a particular topic, you can find everything here. If it's called Introduction To, it's designed to start very simply and build on that simple introduction to teach you all about it. If it's called For Beginners, then that is really aimed at people who are brand new to that part of the hobby. You can also search on YouTube for anything that you're interested in using the search function at the top. So iNav Painless 360 will find all of my videos and even the playlist around iNav. So thanks again for watching and happy flying.